I've worked with hundreds of retirees in Canada over the past 15 years, and I can tell you this, some of the biggest financial mistakes don't happen during the wealth building years, they happen in retirement. Why? Because retirement planning is a different game entirely. It's not about growing your assets anymore, it's about protecting them, drawing income from them, and making sure they last. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the top 5 mistakes I see retirees make all the time, and more importantly, exactly how we help our clients avoid those mistakes. My name is Rob Tetrault, Senior Portfolio Manager and Branch Manager at the Tetrault Wealth Advisory Group. These are the mistakes that cost people thousands of dollars in taxes, trigger old age security clawbacks, jeopardize investment returns, and sometimes even force them back to work. So grab a notepad, this one could save your retirement. The most common mistake? Withdrawing money from the wrong account at the wrong time. Most retirees assume that they should spend their non-registered account first, no matter what. And then they'll move on to their RRSPs, and maybe they'll save their TFSAs for last. But here's the problem. That sequence can leave you with massive RSP balances in your 70s just in time for the mandatory RIF withdrawals, potentially leading to higher tax brackets and full old age security clawbacks. I had a client with $1.4 million in RSPs who followed that outdated withdrawal order, stuff they used to talk about in the 80s. By the time she hit 72, her RIF withdrawals pushed her taxable income to over $135,000. She lost 100% of her OAS, it got completely clawed back, and she paid an effective tax rate of nearly 38%. Instead, we often reverse engineer withdrawals. We pull modest amounts from the RSPs, starting in the 60s. We delay CPP and OAS, and we can let the TFSA grow untouched. For some clients, this works spectacularly. That's how we flatten their tax exposure and stretch out the life of their portfolios. The second mistake is not having a tax plan, not just for this year, but for the next 20 and 30 years. When you're working, your tax is mostly predictable. Paycheck in, tax withheld. But in retirement, it's a spider web of registered and non-registered withdrawals and dividend income and pensions and rental income and CPP and OAS and much, much more. Without proper planning, you can trigger unnecessary capital gains, which could push yourself into a higher marginal tax bracket or even lose benefits that you're entitled to. We had one client in 2023 who sold a cottage. In the same year, he converted his RSP to a RIF, started receiving the full CPP. So that year he paid $63,000 in taxes, nearly triple his usual liability because there was no coordination, there was no tax plan in place. That's why every one of our clients has a tax map, a 10, 15, even 20-year forward-looking plan that shows exactly when to withdraw, from which account, when to sell, when to defer, when to convert assets. The plan covers it all. The third mistake is playing it too safe. And I know this sounds counterintuitive, especially after the market downturns that we've had recently. But holding too much cash in retirement is a slow bleed. There's an opportunity cost to keeping all that cash. It's a direct cost. It's costing you money to be sitting on that cash. I had a couple come in to see us with $2.1 million. $900,000 of it was sitting in a savings account earning 1.5%. Well, inflation was well over 3%. So that's not safety. That's wealth erosion. They also have to pay tax on that income that's being earned. So it's being eroded by inflation. Taxes are eating a big chunk of it, and they're left with a negative return on that cash. You need liquidity. I get it, absolutely. But you also need growth. So there's a number there that you should keep in cash. But a lot of people end up keeping way too much of it. You also need growth. So if your retirement lasts 25 or 30 years, some part of your portfolio must outpace inflation. That's why we're here, and we recommend a bucket strategy, right? We'll have a little bit of short-term needs, some income-producing assets, dividends, bonds, perhaps some stability, stocks, otherwise known as equities for growth, and some alternatives for long-term protection against inflation. You need all those assets, right? You can't just be sitting on cash. If you're unsure about this or anything else in your portfolio, go to speaktorob.com to book a no-obligation consultation. If you're sitting on too much cash or you're unsure if you have the right asset allocation, come see us. It's what we do. The fourth mistake, not planning for the what ifs in life. The long-term care, the major health events, the widowed spouses, market crashes early in retirement. Contingency planning is critical. If you haven't set aside a contingency fund or some sort of liquidity plan, and you don't have a flexible portfolio with access to cash or liquid assets, you could be at risk. I always tell clients, set aside some portion of your net worth in a low volatility, liquid piece of assets that can be used, for healthcare, for upgrades, emergencies, kind of like a rainy day fund. And that buffer can save your plan. And we go one step further. Every retirement plan should stress test a market drop in the first 3 years. So if your portfolio can't handle a 20 or 30% hit without compromising lifestyle, then we need to readjust the asset allocation and look at the liquidity plan, right? Last but not least, mistake number 5, not having an exit strategy. No will, no power of attorney, no beneficiary planning, no tax planning for your estate. If you're over 60 and you've saved well, your estate is going to pay tax, period. The question is, will it pay 25 or 30 or 50%? And the answer depends entirely on your planning. We often recommend complicated strategies, sometimes centered around insurance, charitable giving, joint accounts, corporate estate freezes, all of this to limit estate taxes. For one of our clients, a family trust saved them over 180 grand in probate and capital gains tax. That's a significant amount. The bottom line, the government will take its share if you don't make a plan. So let's make a plan. If you're in retirement or you're getting close, you owe it to yourself to avoid these mistakes. You've worked too hard for too long and you've saved too much to get tripped up by these tax rules or poor timing or fear-based decisions. And that's exactly what we walk you through in our retirement planning masterclass. Real case studies, real withdrawal strategies, tax frameworks, and the same tools that we use for our clients every single day. It's free. It's specific to Canadian retirees or anyone who's approaching retirement. And if you have $1 million or more in savings or liquid investable assets and you want to retire smart, it's your next best step. So click the link below to register and I will see you there. If this is weighing on you and you'd like to book a no obligation consultation to chat about this or anything else, your portfolio, your asset allocation, your tax plan, your retirement plan, go to speaktorob.com and book a call now. It's what we do. We're good at it. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my YouTube channel if you want to see more content. I appreciate you taking the time. I'll see you in the next video.